Greetings from the Philippines to the world. We are on Facebook Live on Eagle News and also on our streaming site, eaglenewslive.com. Watch us on our YouTube channel at Eagle News. Ako po si Cesar Vallejos. Welcome to Open for Business. Join me discover the latest news and information in business around the world. Stay ahead of the curve from vision to action. It is the main responsibility of business owners to protect their people and property. By ensuring the safety and protection of their staff, companies are sending the message of guarantee to their consumers that their products and services are produced with utmost care and protection against viruses and bacteria. In this episode of Open for Business, we are privileged to have one of the most trusted partners in health and safety, the International Sanitization and Protection Suppliers, or ISPS, a service provider for biological safety and protection, trusted by government officials, celebrities, business owners, and some of the largest corporations in the country. Joseph Talamayan, CEO of ISPS, will join us later to tell us how to secure and protect your people and property in the era of COVID-19. Open for Business will return. Stay with us.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants. Abangan ng kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutrichos, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichos. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, IMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutrichunks.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
Hey, Aggression Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sunbake Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Open for Business is back, and with me is the CEO of International Sanitization and Protection Suppliers, Mr. Joseph Talamayan. Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Sir Caesar. How are you doing?
Perfect. And you?
I am doing well. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. As I mentioned in the introduction earlier, Joseph, a lot of businesses now, because of the lifting of the ECQ, and areas now are going to the general community quarantine and also to the modified one. There are a lot of businesses, there are a lot of employees who now go back to work. Some are very, very excited to work like us, because a lot of people also missed working in the office. But my first question would be, how important is for business owners, for businesses to ensure that they would really provide a very, very good safety and protection for their employees, and what is the role of these protective devices, the new healthy and safety protocols, so that employees would really be made sure that when they go back to their offices, they would feel safe, secure when they go back to their families.
You have a great question, Sir Caesar. I think there's a huge dilemma here in terms of growing the economy and providing safety. And there's somewhere this sweet spot in the middle with businesses to ensure their customers and their employees are safe. Our company provides that, but at the same time, it's upon each leader of the company, the leaders of the communities, the leaders of the government, to provide some sort of guidance or specific guidance that enables that sweet spot to occur, to both safety and bringing the economy back together. It's a very difficult challenge, and we have a lot of products and services and consulting services that we provide both to the government and to private corporations to ensure this happens. I was in a meeting last week with Philippine Chamber of Commerce discussing this and trying to figure out how we get people back to work, how we get people back on the road systems, get them back on the grid at work, and then again, making sure it's safe so that we don't spread the virus. Because at the end of the day, we can always make an economy grow again. What you can't do is you can't make people or cure them from the disease if it's killing you. So your comments are right on point in terms of there has to be this sweet spot in order to create the economy or grow the economy, as well as to prevent the spread of COVID.
Joseph, you mentioned about the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It's good that you brought that up, because I think based on one of the interviews made by the president of PCCI, it was really this group as the voice of the Philippine business who have been wanting to open up the economy because without the reopening of the businesses, the economy would really suffer, and a lot of the micro, small, and medium enterprises are adversely affected. In your meetings, in your meeting with them, Joseph, so far, what is the insight that you were able to gather there? Are they really raving to go back to business? Are they what was the insight in terms of maybe the industries, that were really pushing for the reopening of the businesses?
So, of course, their biggest concern is the people who are out of work.
Mm-hmm.
I think the people in the room that were there employed at least 1 million individuals. So these were the big owners that were associated with PCCI.
Mm.
Their biggest concern was getting their people back to work
Mm-hmm.
and getting them back to work safely.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, ensuring that the economy, which is currently struggling, of course, because of the lockdown, needs to make sure they prioritize Filipino workers and Filipino products.
Mm-hmm.
So the big push for them was ensuring that we get the Filipinos back to work and ensuring that we put Filipino products above or make that the priority as we move on to different sectors of the economy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another interesting thing that you mentioned, Joseph, is the sweet spot. Of course, like any government, the dilemma is which one would you prioritize? Is it the health and safety of your citizens or the pumping up of the economy? Now, there has to be a balance there. So in that, in the sweet spot that you were mentioning, Joseph, what now is the role of companies like you? Because you are, which we experience, and we're very privileged to have really had this first-hand experience of what you can do to companies, to a lot of corporations, even the impact to people and to employees once they see, the results of their tests. Somehow that gives a feeling of safety, of relief. So in that sweet spot, Joseph, what is the role of your company there, and what do you think would be where this is going? Are we looking at, because before, Joseph, we never really focused on health and safety, misting and other things, protective devices. It's probably only this year, that we see the boom of these products and services. So what's the role of your company in that sweet spot?
So our role in that sweet spot is, I think, what the government is already doing right now is one is prevention is the best cure. Educating our kababayan on, first of all, staying healthy, eating the right foods, taking your vitamin C's, exercising, and then the other preventions are wearing masks, sanitizing with the correct chemicals that are safe for the environment that you're in, and then, of course, testing as many people as possible to see who may have it. Because when we supported the government in creating the Philippine Sports Arena testing facility, we saw a lot of their procedures were and their guidance were great, and they were doing the right things. They just needed to understand how they put that together and then execute. So I think the biggest thing our company provides is the execution piece. And how to provide these products that are super safe. So a lot of our products that we have are imported from Australia, USA, and some homegrown here. The real issue that we faced when we first got into this pandemic is, are chemicals safe and how do we use them? FDA in 2015, Admin Order -038, created a somewhat weird situation where disinfectants that were brought to the Philippines did not have to have FDA approval. That's since changed because of the COVID issue. But at the same time, now you have all these products here in the Philippines that weren't regulated properly, and now we don't know what works and what doesn't. So we went back to the drawing board. We went to the U.S., Australia, and other countries that actually regulated their products and tested them at independent laboratories to ensure the safety of the so-named chemical. At the same time, its actual effectiveness. So now that we brought those products in the Philippines, we know that our products are safe and we know they're effective. What we'd like to do now in the future is we're working with some government agencies to actually test it in the lab to once again prove that chemicals are not only safe, but they're also effective. So again, to talk about that sweet spot. So both with products, service, and execution. We are definitely an execution provider, ensuring that all our products are safe, whether they're approved by the FDA or DOH. And then of course our processes and procedures are again approved by DOH or FDA. So we're always in line with them and always working with them to provide advice both ways, because there's always new technology coming out. Some we don't necessarily understand, but we want to make sure it's safe first before we use it and before we execute. And I think that's the biggest thing, what we bring to the table. And that's why a lot of the LGUs, the governments, the big governments, the Philippine government, along with big companies like LG or Contis work with us, because we provide the cutting edge technology, which is both safe and very effective and affordable.
Yeah. Joseph, that's really good to know. Pero balikan ko lang yung sinabi mo kanina, because that's one critical area. The critical area is the standard. A lot of businesses, a lot of companies, siyempre yung iba dyan gustong makatipid. Like say for example, if I am an owner of a small business, minsan titingnan mo yung pinakamura, but is it really the gold standard? Is it really FDA or DOH approved? Because sometimes, even if you got a positive, a good result, maybe a negative, but is it something that will be recognized as the gold standard, that you will, be respected or acknowledged by companies, as their employees go back to work. So ano ba yung proseso? What is, you mentioned that of course with ISPS you went through the process of double checking, going to the US, Europe, and other parts of the world to test your product. Pero here in the Philippines, like say for example, I am a business owner or members of the PCCI or any business organization. Ano yung hahanapin nila na certification? What are the gold standards or the first things that they would ask if they are buying protection products and services from a company like yours?
That's a great question. So if you're a small business owner or even a big business owner or just an LGU that is very interested in purchasing any protection supplies or chemicals or services, the first thing you want to do is ask for a definitely company profile who they've worked with in the past. For me, it creates legitimacy because, of course, you can trust others who serviced others and understand what they did. Number two, I was also asked for their licenses and their permits. So depending on what they're selling. So you would ask for their LTO if they're allowed to conduct transactions, pharmaceutical transactions. If they're doing waste management, you would ask them for their waste management permits. Or number three, if they're selling anything FDA related that requires FDA paperwork, then ask them for those products. Or the paperwork for those products. And then from there, ask them, really ask them the hard questions. For like misting, for example. A lot of people think that, when you see the videos of fog and mist, they think that is actually killing bacteria. And that's really just for bogey points, if you will. The fog only creates a nice smell and kills odor. But how to really sanitize is to actually cold mist. So if they hot mist, it's only bogey points again. It's the cold mist that really kills the bacteria and anything around. As you can see, my guys in the video, they're well trained. They know exactly what to do. They wear the right PPEs. You could ask them about the chemicals, the parts per million, what they're using, how it works, who you can spray it on, who you cannot spray it on, what you can spray it on, what it'll destroy. So we go through an intensive training for our people so that they're very safe with it and they understand the good reactions as well as the adverse reactions.
Okay, that's interesting again. Now, my question is, there are a lot of technologies involved in the process of this, in the manufacture of this. Of course, with a lot of viewers, both online and on television, sometimes a lot of the audiences will not be able to recognize the difference of the regular masks, for example. It was only, lately that we were, somehow educated with, what's the difference between surgical mask and the N95. So, my question now is, how important, what is the role of technology in the development of your products? What research and development process are you really following? What's the roadmap in terms of R&D? And you started focusing on the products. How different are these, products? And in terms of your sourcing, where is this coming from? And then later on, is there plans for your company to manufacturing this locally to ensure that the prices would still go down? And because we know, Joseph, that even in this country, like say for example, speaking of the MSMEs, about 99.6% belong to the MSMEs, and they may not be able to, a simple mask like this would not necessarily be affordable to a lot of employees, especially if it's something that you just have to throw again and then you get it again the following day when you report to the office. So, going back to the question, ano yung gaano kahalaga? How important is the research and development in terms of your technology roadmap?
Okay, so going to our technology, we have a whole team that's dedicated to research and development and sourcing of new products, new technology, and we definitely want to bring that technology home to the Philippines. We're currently working right now to scale PPEs here in the Philippines and make them here in the Philippines. We want to make it homegrown. And you're right about the education on different types of masks, like the mask I have here. The masks are very different from N88s to N95s to KN95s. The KN95 is equivalent of a FFP2 in Europe, or 94% mask in the USA. Then you got the N95, which is FFP1 in Europe, and then N95 in the USA, and it meets the FDA standards. And then you got the N88, which is totally different mask. And you're right, when we go around to all the different barangays and the different areas, you don't see a lot of people wearing the right mask, and I don't blame them at all. It's like we discussed, it's about affordability and access and ease of access. I really think that as businessmen and as community leaders, we need to build our own internal organic to the Philippines or protect the suppliers right now, because currently Philippines can only produce up to 10,000 a day. There's only one company in Philippines. I think there's two now since the pandemic, but there was one previous to that, and they were topping out at 10,000 masks a day. So if you look at 10,000 masks, it's going to take another 1,000 days just to make enough for the population, which is about 3 years.
Wow.
So the reality is we need, of course, a lot more mask makers here in the Philippines that make the right stuff, make it affordable, so everyone in the Philippines has easy access, and we're hoping to get there soon. The proprietary machines are both in China, USA, and Europe now, and we're currently working with teams to source it. So if you have access to it, I would really love the help from anyone that's watching this to come and reach out to ISPS and be a part of our team and support us in what we're trying to do, and that's try to make another safe company that provides safe equipment to all of the Philippines.
Just for the people who were able to miss it, what type of mask is it that should be ideal, to protect themselves from the COVID-19 virus?
Ideally, my personal recommendation by the research I've done is N88 or above. So as long as you use something like this, or a KN95 or N95, again, these are one-day usable. And this is what I like to use. This is my personal mask of choice because it's breathable. You can cover the tip appropriately, and it's well sealed. And then you use this every day because it's very important that you use it daily and discard of it because the bacteria will end up growing in this area. And there's other bacteria besides COVID to worry about. So you don't want to continue using the same mask over and over because it ends up becoming more dangerous for you.
We have more questions to the CEO of International Sanitization and Protection Suppliers, Mr. Joseph Talamayan, when Open for Business returns.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants. Abangan ang kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, Building a Better World. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Preventive NutriChoice, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa NutriChoice. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Standard Juicy, ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matinco. R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, IMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved NutriChunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa NutriChunks.
The South Luzon Expressway, a 36-kilometer long road that runs from Alabang to Santo Tomas, Batangas, connects several commercial and residential areas in the Greater Manila and the provinces of Laguna, Cavite, and Batangas. This will soon be extended all the way to the province of Quezon.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-Mig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-Mig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Bakit natin ipinagluluto ang mga mahal natin? We want them to feel special. Some meaty luncheon meat that we serve. If your pure intentions had a taste, it would taste like Pure Foods. Pure sarap. Pure Foods luncheon meat.
Open for Business is back, and still with me is Mr. Joseph Talamayan, CEO of the International Sanitization and Protection Suppliers. Joseph, we talked about how important this new products are, and the types of products that they should need, but I mentioned in the introduction earlier, we actually do not know about these products and services until COVID-19 came. So it's really giving a big boost to a lot of companies now who are into the manufacturing of these products and services. Do you have any data in terms of market figures how probably this equipment, products, and protection devices grew, as it is today compared to the pre-COVID days?
So we know the health industry, sir, was supposed to grow in 10 years at about a 20x growth rate. I think it's fast-tracked at this point, and especially with the protection supplies and the bio-waste management. That has definitely fast-tracked in the last 3 months. Mm-hmm. And instead of seeing a gradual growth of about 1 to 2x per year, you're going to see it multiply that by 4, especially in that industry. I think the infrastructure, of course, here in the Philippines was not as strong in those fields. And now you see the president and the Senate and the House creating new bills and new ways we can create a better infrastructure for bio-waste management, as well as the creation of industries that manufacture PPEs here in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, are there, I think you mentioned also earlier about this possibility of trying to really localize the manufacturing of these items. So is that something that is this the industry that you are also looking at in terms of growth? Will there be opportunities for MSMEs in the area of healthcare health protection? Because I think based on the latest reports also, as reported by the NEDA and also the Department of Trade and Industry, there are some incentives already that are given to MSMEs and other businesses who would really pursue these types of investments, these types of creation of industries that will really promote this industry. What's your insight on that? Do you think this industry will also help the MSMEs and make it grow? And and how do you see it in the future?
That's a great question, and we have some insight. DTI is providing, if you will, PESA zones for companies that will focus on PPEs and sanitization services. So they're already having it in discussion, and I'm sure they're going to come up with some sort of standard and guidance for it in the next coming months. I can grow this pretty fast, and I hope a lot of other companies grow this pretty fast because the Philippines needs it. And I don't want Philippines to be dependent on other countries for it, because we can manufacture here ourselves as long as we have the right materials and the right backing and the right people. Mm-hmm. So I would really urge the government to quickly create the plan so that way as the small, medium enterprises can get involved and really can make it happen. If the big players are too focused on other things, I would ask the big players, hey, come to guys like myself or other suppliers and help them, because we can make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of government support, Joseph, so far in your experience, how was your experience in putting this up with are there any challenges that you have encountered in dealing with the government? Of course, with all this COVID thing, initially there were a lot of problems and challenges, but we have seen that the government was really doing their job in terms of making sure that everything will be implemented as planned to really protect us, especially with the lockdowns. As an entrepreneur, as a company that provides, and helps businesses protect their employees, what so far are the challenges that you think other entrepreneurs or other investors, can experience in dealing with the government and also in dealing with the private sector? If you can share your experience, and what do you think are your suggestions to make sure that once people like you or other investors would come in, to build this industry and to meet the demand of the Philippine market for COVID-19 requirements, and this will be served?
What I really saw when we first got involved and the government was trying to move as fast as they can, they had a lot of different entities as part of this IATF, this interagency task force. So you had the PNP working with the Bureau of Fire, working with the Coast Guard, working with all these different agencies all put in one room together. And of course, each person or each agency is looking at it at a different perspective. And at the end of the day, they were able to get together. I think what really benefited the IATF is that they really requested the support of big business to go to their meetings so they could support it and come up with a plan that only is good for the Philippine people, but also good for business and healthy for the economy and the employees. So I think the biggest challenge was moving fast enough and creating effective guidance to support the movement of so many different parts. So the challenge was that there were so many different people involved, which is great because you get to see it from their perspective. You get to see it from the Department of Transportation perspective, from the Bureau of Fire perspective, from the PNP perspective in terms of safety and checkpoints. And then you can see it from the business owner's perspective, looking at it, okay, how do I execute this, save on cost, still make a margin, and then help my community and my employees. So looking at it at so many different angles and getting them together was the challenge. But I think through the leadership of like Vince Dizon from BCDA, or the leadership of President Duterte, and the leadership of General Halad, who was the OCD secretary, guys like that really brought this together, made the different people work together. And at the end of the day, you have these huge COVID testing facilities, these mega quarantine facilities. And I think right now we are really prepared for a second or third wave. I'm not saying that we're going to have one. I don't want one. But at the end of the day, from March 18 to today, we are so much better in terms of our preparedness for any type of biological hazard to come our way.
Wow, well said, well said. That's perfect. Now, off-cam, Joseph, you were talking about your experience at the Philippine sports arena, and also, part of the facility there at the Philippine Arena. With your experience in putting up, this, helping the mega quarantine, what so far were your observations? What are the best practices that you were able to observe, and how because we also got a report, from a lot of our reporters also, and also the ones covered by the BCDA and the mentions of the IATF, that this mega quarantine is a big boost and provides a good impact for the OFWs returning from different countries. But we wanted to hear it from you because you were part of this various organizations who helped that out, who helped out in putting that up.
I think one is they're doing the right thing in terms of having big ones or mega centers to prepare for any follow-on issues or disasters, and it's working. What I like to say that is quarantine facilities are not to capacity or nowhere near it. So that's a good sign for Philippines, is that our tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 hospitals in the different locations can handle the current COVID patients. So that's a great thing. And the second thing is, I think it was a preventive measure by the Philippine government to ensure they had a lot of these facilities in case there was a higher wave than normal, or expected more. The bottom line is, I think right now we may have enough for NCR. Again, this is based on empirical evidence, not necessarily. This is from my point of view and what I've seen and everywhere I'm visiting. But then again, you hear this flare up of COVID positives, and yet you still don't see any hospitals yet inundated as they were when we first started in March. So there's a good trend, a downward trend in the hospitals, or at least a steady trend where we're not seeing an uptick in COVID patients. But at the same time, it's because more hospitals are prepared, more LGUs are prepared. We have huge quarantine facilities, and I think it's doing its part. So Sir Vincent Dizon, the head of BCDA, and who's doing a lot of the coordination between all the agencies, who was appointed by Duterte to be the COVID secretary, he's doing all the right things, coordinating everything and making it happen. So hats off to him and his crew, who are really working with and being in the middle, ensuring that all the players play together on one team, whether it be the PNP, BFP, or other agencies. So everyone is working together, and I really appreciate the INC for coming together and allowing, the use of their facilities. I mean, their facilities are huge, and they are able to really support it and come, with open arms, and allowing everybody to come in and be supported. So it was awesome.
Thank you very much. That's great to hear. Now let's go to, this. I could say these are a little, personal in terms of impact, because with all these protective devices, with all these products and services, we cannot say that it is not changing our lifestyles, because definitely, with all the protective devices, with all these gadgets, with all these new health protocols and safety protocols, it's changing the way we live. It's changing the way people go to work, the way we maintain our lifestyles, even our fashion. Sometimes I see a lot of very fashionable and expensive face masks. I'm not sure if that is safe, but how is this changing our lifestyle? How do we, as they say, it's the new normal? And what is the role again of these protective devices, sanitation, to our new lifestyle in the era of COVID?
Yeah, Cersei, you're definitely right about that. It's going to be a new normal. Every restaurant, every store, every retail outlet, everywhere you see, everyone's going to need a mask. I agree with it. At the same time, I understand that it's definitely a new normal, especially with chemicals, PPEs, and how we live our day-to-day lives. It's kind of scary thought that what's next in terms of, is there going to be another disease or virus coming out? And I'm saddened by the fact that even my own kids can't go outside and play anymore, which, hurts me. So it's unknown where we're going to go from here in terms of a people, a population, a community. In terms of business, we definitely have to change, and everything is going to change, and I see it now. You see people wearing all the PPEs when they go out, and I would say safety first. So before we jumpstart the economy, we got to make sure that we're safe, because at the end of the day, we can always start the economy. We can't create new people or save people, at least for now.
Now, Joseph, you also mentioned earlier that, of course, we don't want to have this second wave or third wave. Pero sa mga nanonood na mga may-ari ng kumpanya o mga maliliit na negosyo, the MSMEs, what do you think will be the best practices in terms of health and safety para may ready naman nila, may handa naman yung mga sarili nila to ensure that, you know, if that happens, at least, you know, they are protected or they are prepared. Kasi like in the past, before this happened, a lot of small businesses don't even focus on digital transformation. Walang pakialam yung mga businesses minsan na parang they don't even talk about online, they don't even talk about digital assets or e-commerce. But you know, when you know COVID-19 came, you know, it is a must that you go online or else you will die. In terms of sanitization or sanitation and protection, ano ang mabipapayo mo? What's your take on the preparedness of businesses, large or small, in terms of making sure that they have the best practices in terms of health and safety, not only for their employees, but for the company in general?
That's a good question. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to educating your employees and your community on, first and foremost, taking care of yourself. You know, the proper nutrition, the proper diet, the proper exercise, and then from there, moving to protection of PPEs, how to wear a mask, what you need to don and doff. How are you going to operate inside the office now, knowing that others, that outsiders that come in, do they have COVID? Are they spreading COVID? So in this weird gray area, but at the end of the day, it's protecting yourself first through nutrition, proper diet, and physical health. And then number two is wearing the right PPEs in your industry. So if you're in the food industry, it's ensuring you're using the right chemicals on your food, on the tables, proper social distancing, masks. If you're working in a warehouse, might be a little more stringent because now you're really in an enclosed space with just the same people every day. And so how do you want to operate? You want to spread it throughout 24 hours, not everyone at the office at the same time, or do you want to work from home? What I know is that 20% of the GDP, or it was F&B, and that's restaurants and everything else, where it was more of a social activity. So business is definitely going to be disrupted, and for F&B and the F&B retails outlets, because you can't necessarily go in and eat anymore. It's different, right? You got to use some of the apps to bring food, and so you see all the signs when you're traveling around, takeout and delivery only. And to be honest, it doesn't feel good, right? Because you want to go in, sit down with your friends, and, you know, enjoy a meal, and now you can't. So it's definitely going to be a struggle until we contain this virus. But I'm sure, well, I want it to end soon, like everybody else. I think we're going to be in the struggle in this gray area for the next 6 to 8 months, and I don't see us until having a vaccine. Once we have a vaccine, we'll see it become normal from another 6 months after that. So currently we're in human trials. The human trials will probably complete around September, October timeframe. Then they got to develop it mainstream and manufacture a lot of it. That's another 6 months. So we have another year before we see it here in the Philippines being injected into people. So it's really rough. And there's all these groups where it's the bounce back groups on how you can pivot your industry and doing something else, whether it's e-commerce or it's the medical supply industry or what. But everyone's going to have to pivot and understand what's going on and hope that it doesn't last that long. But if it does, understand that, hey, I got to get prepared for it. And so there's so many ways to do it. And we all just got to work together and make it happen.
Yeah, well said, Joseph. Now, there's a lot of products and services in your list. As people now go back to their offices, as people go back to their work areas, what are the most basic products and services that they should avail of, and how will they reach you, Joseph?
Okay, so I think first and foremost is the gloves, especially if you're working with food, and then making sure you take them on and off so that you don't spread different viruses. Next would be the face mask, and then of course your hand sanitizer. I think those are the three main things that people will need in the near future as they open up. So that's again, masks, gloves, and hand sanitizer. Of course, there's also chemicals. Make sure the chemicals that you're using are FDA approved, whether in this country or other countries, because they normally have the right data to say, hey, if they're super effective but not safe for humans, or safe for humans and effective. So understand what product you're using. And to get a hold of us, it's really easy. It's just internationalsps.com. I'll say it again, www.internationalsps.com. And you go to our website, you can order from there, you can talk to our customer service department, and if the line is busy, because it seems that way every day, email us or message us on Facebook, because of course, we're getting a lot of orders, a lot of traction. We're working with the government, LGUs, big companies, and what we like to do first and foremost, what we like to do is provide guidance on consulting, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, because we get a lot of questions. I'll give you the one that we get all the time. My condo, it's 40 square meters. Should we get disinfected? And then our response is, has anyone had COVID in your condo or your condo building? And then their answer is no. Then my answer is, then you shouldn't avail our services, because if there's no COVID there, it's a safe zone. We don't want to bring it in. If there was a COVID patient already there and you took him out, then of course, then you should sanitize the area. But at the end of the day, if you live in a condo or a house that's never been near a patient with COVID, then there's no reason to avail any cleaning services or have it on a monthly basis, because in my opinion, it's just a waste of money. And I want to protect you against a real virus, not because we're trying to make money. We want to do the right thing. So when you call us and we tell you not to get the services, it's because we feel that there was no COVID there, you're in a safe area, there's no need. But then again, of course, there's protective services like the products and other things we can do for you, and we can provide consulting services for your large scale operations or even small scale operations, so that way you meet the guidance for the modified GCQ that's coming here shortly.
Well, that is very well said, and that's Mr. Joseph Talamayan, the CEO of International Sanitization and Protection Suppliers. Thank you very much, Joseph, for granting us this interview, and thank you very much for also assisting Eagle Broadcasting Corporation with our rapid testing. Any final words to our viewers and also to small business owners and the enterprise who are watching now, Joseph?
I'd like to thank everybody that supported us and that allowed us to support them, from the top, Mr. President Duterte, Senator Manny Pacquiao, Angel Locsin, LG, Contis, I'm sure I'm forgetting other guys out there, Mamba Energy Sports Drink, who just keeps giving us energy drinks to support my guys in the field that are doing the sanitization daily. Pop-Up Katipunan, Jeffrey O, who's allowing us to use his warehouse. James Reed, who is a big proponent of what we're doing. And we just appreciate them. We appreciate the Filipino people for allowing us to serve you. And we hope we can do it better every day. And we're working hard to protect you from any pathogens, viruses. And I think that's it. But thank you. And thank you, EBC. Thank you, Miss Phoebe. Thank you, Mr. Caesar, for supporting us and always putting us on your shows and helping us do the right thing.
Thank you very much. That's Mr. Joseph Talamayan, CEO of ISPS. Open for Business will be back. Stay tuned. And our term of the week is from cnet.com. Our term of the week is PCR testing. It is a testing protocol to identify if you've contracted the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. This test works by identifying the virus's DNA through a process called PCR, or polymerase chain reaction. The PCR test looks for telltale markers distinct to this viral strain. The sample can be obtained through a throat or nasal swab, which makes it ideal for the kind of drive-through testing centers proposed in countries like the US. And our word of the week is from an unknown author. He said, "Safety isn't expensive, it is priceless." Thank you for watching Open for Business. Join us again in the next episodes of Open for Business for more insights from CEOs, thought leaders, and industry experts promoting business development in the Philippines. See you again every Saturday and Sunday here in Open for Business, where we discuss business information, deliver the latest business news to keep you informed and open for business, and be ahead of the curve from vision to action. You're on Facebook Live on Eagle News, and you can watch us again in the video section of Eagle News Facebook page and on eaglenewslive.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Eagle News. And here is Julie Ann to tell us of the many ways to donate and be able to help health workers and frontliners through the FYM Medical Foundation as our beneficiary.
Here are the many ways to donate and be able to help health workers and frontliners through the FYM Medical Foundation as our beneficiary. First, donate via pymy.co/EBC. Just use any Visa, MasterCard, or JCB credit, debit, or prepaid card and donate by logging on to pymy.co/EBC. Just choose an amount you wish to donate and enter your card details. Second, donate via the PayMaya app. If you have a PayMaya account, you can easily donate by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. Just log on to your app, click the scan button, point your camera to the QR code that you see on the screen, and enter the amount you wish to donate. Third, donate via PayPal. For PayPal app users, just log on to eaglenews.ph and click the PayPal Donate Now button found at the upper portion of the website. Input the amount you wish to donate, click Use this donation for Enjoy Music Beyond the Crisis, and choose between Donate with PayPal or Donate with a credit card in order to enter your additional information. Fourth, donate directly to the EBC bank account that is flashing on your screens. You can complete transactions online or directly with your banks. Fifth, donate over the counter using ebc.pay8.app. Just go to ebc.pay8.app or scan the QR code and you can now choose to donate over the counter via the app. After typing your donation details, you can choose your payment options including over-the-counter payments like Palawan Express, LBC, ECPay, and Cebuana Luwilier. You can also pay through credit and debit cards and mobile e-wallets using the ebc.pay8.app. Wherever you are in the world, you can easily help those affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, even while at home, through our beneficiary, FYM Medical Foundation. Together, let's all do our part and stand as one against COVID-19.
For Open for Business, this is Cesar Vallejos. We live in interesting times. Have a great day.